Hello everybody, this is Dr. Novak again. I just received this yesterday. This is a F-Zone 15 liter canister filter. And I've been watching some videos on canister filters, and some of the things I've been seeing about canister filters is getting airlocked or having air get into them. Some of these filters are very expensive, and to see that people are having trouble with these filters, getting air into them, constantly becoming airlocked or blowing out air, making noise, the motors are making noise. I have to admit that the F-Zone filters that I've been using with their pumps, I have had no problems with. There is a little bit of a problem with the filter I'm using on the antique aquarium, because the tubing is behind the aquarium and the tubing is growing algae in it, and because the algae is photosynthesizing and bubbling, the bubbles are getting sucked into the canister. But that's all because the tubing is clear. Even if I use the Eheim green tubing and the green, everything green, it still grows algae and it still will photosynthesize when the light hits it and create bubbles, and the canister is sucking in those bubbles. But once the plant stops photosynthesizing, it doesn't suck any bubbles, and therefore there's no noise from the canister. So that's explained why that is happening. And that's what I found out. Because if I take all the intake and outtake, I don't have to worry about the outtake really, but the intake tubing, if I take it and clean it real good, the siphon and everything, clean it real good, has no algae in it, I don't get the problem. As soon as it builds up any kind of algae, the sun hits it, starts it to photosynthesize, it builds up those bubbles. Anyhow, I have not opened up this, I just received this. This is the new F-Zone. F-Zone has changed their filter, their pump, and what they give you. This has everything except an intake and outtake strainer. That is your option on what you want to buy. So it comes with everything except for a strainer and your outtake. If you want to use a lily pipe, fine. If you want to use something else, that's fine too. But it doesn't come with that. But it comes with, supposed to come with everything. I don't know. I haven't opened it. But let's take a look. The size of the box and everything else is about the same size as Eheim 2217. It's about the same size as a 2217 Eheim also. I will say that. Maybe just a slight bit bigger in the diameter, and the OD and ID going to be a little bit bigger. But basically it reminds you of a 2217 Eheim, if you're not familiar with that. The thing about these filters, I noticed, these are old style filters, meaning not only are they made to last, but a long time ago they had the filter and they had a motor separate. They're two different entities. The motor is not like today where the motor mounts on top. Excuse me, mounts on top. It's built into the head with a gasket. No. These are old school. The motor is separate. Then you have a top that mounts on with a nice O-ring that is compressed down. Okay, so the O-ring has to be set down. It's compressed down like you're supposed to use O-rings, and it's not just an O-ring that's mounted onto the head and slips in there, and then you press it down. These are made so they don't leak or suck in air through the O-ring. They're not fancy. They're not going to have all kinds of, if you're looking for something with baskets and shelves and pre-filters, no. These are old school filters. They're made to last. They're made that if the motor burns out, you just buy the motor. The canister itself, all I can say is it's going to outlast you. They'll be burying you with the canister filter. It will outlast you. The motor won't, of course. They're only going to last so long, so many years. But as far as the quality of these canister filters go, they compete with that of the ADA. In fact, I wouldn't even buy an ADA. I'm sorry, they're nice quality, but they're not that nice for the price. That's what I guess I'm saying. They're nice, but for the price, they're just a little too expensive. So we're going to open this one up. Like I said, I have not opened it, so if there's anything wrong with it, we will soon find out. And it basically is as big as any of your canister filter boxes, because this is a 15 liter. Okay, it's packed with styrofoam, as most of them are. Okay, so first thing of it is everything's packed in plastic. Okay, I don't see any hoses or anything, so I guess everything must be inside. Okay, so we are going to take a look at this bad boy and see if anything's connected. No. Yeah, it looks like it's got everything, something in here. The hosing. They've already, looks like this is already hooked up. With the clamps. Looks like, what is this? Looks like 22 millimeter hosing from what I can see. 18 millimeter. Okay, it's 18 millimeter hosing. It's got a few bags. These look like they could be, what are these? Quick disconnects. These are going to be the quick disconnects that they give you. Well, these are not Eheim quick disconnects. These are another version. I'm using a pair of these, in fact, on my canister filter out in the lanai that happens to be an F-zone canister filter. They seem to be working just fine because I've now had them over a year. This is your ring that goes on top. I don't really see anything wrong with it. It looks good. It looks like it could be a silicone ring. But like I have showed you, if these rings go bad, it's easy to fix your canister up. Okay, here is your, okay, this is your controller. And, ooh, they even, look at this, they give you instructions. A little bent up, but they give you instructions on how to set it up. Let's see, I do not read Chinese, so this is relatively useless. It's all written in, oh, here's something. Oh, here's some English. Okay, sorry. My fault. There is English. And it has a controller. I will show you that. and the rest of it's written in Chinese, but it does have English. Okay, so in other words, it's multi-language like everybody does. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so here's the, oh, they changed this. See, this is the new one compared to the one I have. That's the 15 liter. That is the older style. This is the newer one. So I see they made a change to this. Oh, and they made another change. Remember, the old style did not have legs on it. They had legs on the bottom one, but not on the top one. Remember that? I had to put screws in it to, well, they fixed that. Apparently, they've realized that was not very smart. So now you have the top and you have the bottom plate that's going to go in there. Like I said, nothing fancy. This is stainless steel. It's probably, I'm going to say 304. I don't know if it's going to be 316. It probably is 304. Don't take my word on it. It could be 316. Anyhow, they have a nice little F-zone. The clamps are the same as the clamps that are on the 88. They're, in other words, they're spring clamps. These are spring clamps. So when they clamp down, there's a spring in them. So that spring's always adding pressure. And it comes with your intake, which this looks like this could be 5/8. And you're probably going to have 5/8 on top also. Yeah. Yes. So this is all 5/8. It's pretty heavy hosing too. You get, this isn't Eheim hosing. I'm going to tell you that right now. But this is 5/8. So this is going to be, for us Americans, this is going to be 18 to 22 millimeter for Europeans. For us Americans, this is going to be 5/8, which would be 625, which is bigger than the 1/2 inch. That's what you want. You want 625. It seems pretty flexible, you know, the holes. It's not a real stiff hose. Now let's take a look at the top here. So here's something that's changed. It's nice that they have this together for you and give you the clamps. You notice how they do give you clamps to make sure things are clamped down. But I know with these heads, another good thing of it is see, you can unscrew them. And they've changed the motor and they changed the gasket routine of the motor. And oh yeah, they've redesigned this motor. I can tell you that. I was going to do a video, well, I'm going to still do it, on the old style motor, the modification I had to do to it, because I found that the way they designed the impeller wasn't 100% correct. And me being an engineer, and it was getting airlocked because the impeller was, I don't want to get too much involved in it because this video is not about that, but I'm going to have a video on it and explain to you how to fix it with that motor. But anyway, this motor, this new motor, is bolted down versus you have to buy a little block. This one's bolted down. Very nice. Excellent. Excellent. It's a rough cut. I don't know if you can see, it's a rough cut bottom. This has been what they call laser cut. I can tell you that right now. This is laser cut. You can tell that it was not polished after they laser cut it. They didn't put it on a sander, really. I could see that. It was definitely laser cut, but they didn't stick it on a sander to make it look cosmetically nice. But it's only stand for the pump to make it even with this. That's all it is. They could have finished it off, but remember, they're hitting a price point with this filter to match that of competing filters. The only difference is this is going to last you forever. You can take this thing and you can throw it out in the yard and you are not going to break it. I mean, that's all there is to it. Where the plastic ones, you know, it's not going to be that way. So let's see. They got the hole. This is the one. They sell two of these, two different kinds. The one that this is the single inlet. Okay, and then they have one with a double inlet. The double inlet, I think, costs $20 more. I'm not sure. It's got the double inlet. So if you have a big tank, let's say you have a 4-foot tank or 6-foot tank, you can actually have one inlet at one end and one inlet at the other end of the tank going into one filter. Okay, and you can have a quick disconnect for each inlet. Because none of my tanks are that long, one inlet would be more than enough to use. But right away I can tell you, I wonder if I could see how the pump's been redesigned correctly. I could see somebody has handed this over to an engineer and told them what they did wrong, because I found it out. Of course, as a hobbyist, you guys aren't engineers, but as an engineer, when I looked at the old style pumps that they were giving with these filters, I did notice that. Not that I've had any problems with it, because I've been using this filter now for over a year. Okay, zero problems. I just found a design flaw that if bubbles were to come into the pump, there's no way for those bubbles to get expelled out of the pump immediately. And what it does is frappe the bubbles that are in there, and that was a problem. As an engineer, I looked at it and said, this needs to be handed back to the engineers so they can re-engineer this for the impeller. Guess what? Yep, excellent. They have re-engineered it to work correctly. And I will do a whole video on motors and how engineers look at the impellers, how we can change impellers, motors, the laminations that are in here. The lams that are in here are called the stator, and what you have inside is called the rotor. But they have redesigned this pump. I'm definitely going to have to give them a excellent on that. Excellent. That is, this pump is far superior than the older filters. This one puts out, this is a blue 53,000. It says right here. I don't know if you can see that, blue 53,000. And it's got the turbine pump in it, which is everybody's using. He seems to move very smooth, but correcting those problems, this puppy ought to be a bad boy. When it ought to be able to take air now and just, boom, just zip it right out of there without frapping it. And that must have been a problem that the engineers caught. So, comes with a nice long cord. Remember, this is a DC filter, so it's adjustable. But you know what? Really, with today's technology and the switches that we have today, you can connect up a normal filter to an on-off switch, which I have in my 90-gallon here. And this is a magnetic switch, and all you have to do is hit an on-off button. I could take this anywhere and turn off and on my lights inside the cabinet with this. You know, with today's technology, we have that. Plus, it's got a magnetic disc it sticks to. So today we can turn on and off AC pumps like that. by putting the switch on the side of the cabinet or whatever. You go to feed your fish, hit the button off, feed your fish, turn the button back on. The DC pumps, they used to be, you know, where they were really something else because, oh, you know, you got a timer and it will turn off the pumps. Today, with the convenience of electronics, we can turn on and off pumps like that. Feed your fish, turn them back on again, and walk away. That's not even a problem. We could even program, like if you saw my last video, we could even program things on our phone where we can have them turn on, off, whatever we want our pumps. We know we're going to feed them in the morning, have it turn off for 30 minutes or pump, or 15 minutes, feed the fish, turn the pump back on. And this is AC. Technology has caught up with these DC pumps. So the flaw in this pump has been corrected. I will tell you that right now. I can see right now that they have corrected the flaw that I found. So that I'm going to say for F-Zone, they're paying attention. They have done research. Plus the stainless steel bottom onto the pump here instead of that plexiglass they used to have that you would have to put on here, and people had trouble with the tape sticking. This has been, you know, tack welded on. The fit is great. The finish, they could have, you know, at least sanded it down, you know. But it's a laser finish. I'm used to laser finishes, and trust me, people, when people make laser finishes like this, which you will notice, it's rough. It's because the laser can cut it out within. The laser can cut this out within a couple minutes, 2-3 minutes, and they don't want to spend any more time on it because time is money. But does it degrade the quality of what they've done? No. This thing's going to last forever. Maybe cosmetically doesn't look as good. The canister itself, very, very good. Very good. From what I'm looking at here, the welding, very good. Nothing bad about that. So I have no complaints. In fact, it's made so well it actually puts a shame. I hate to say it, it puts a shame the plastic stuff that they're making that people are constantly having trouble with. It's, if you guys don't mind not putting up with all the cages and everything, if you don't mind doing it, and plus you can put a BCB basket in there. You can put a basket in here with ease. Just build up your material. But let me put this off to the side and let's look at some of the other parts. Like I said, the hosing's great, hooks up, no problem. They fixed the pump. I'm going to say good. I use these. I was going to do a review on them, but I wanted to make sure I used them long enough. These interconnects here. Yep, same exact one, same brand. And you know what? I have zero complaints about them so far. They hook in together like this. Their hose hooks on, just like you do an E-Heim. Tightens up, you put your holes on. Everything is for 5/8 or 18 millimeter 5/8. And yeah, it's the exact same thing I got. And this just screws on. And then you do the other one, it screws on. I've had zero leaks with it, zero problems, and I've been using these over a year. Haven't had a thing go wrong with them. I think they're the same brand. If I remember correctly, I think they came in this packaging. So these, I'm going to say, I've had no problems with them. The main O-ring that goes on top, like I said, if this would ever leak or break on you, you can run right to a auto parts store, get yourself a sheet of thick rubber that they buy for gaskets. You can literally cut yourself out a gasket and put it on here. only because of the spring-loaded clamps. Would clamp it down, you're not going to get any leak. That's a gasket. That gasket won't leak. They even give you more clamps, hose clamps. Okay, let's get into the last part. Like I said, this is the first time I'm looking at it the same as you're looking at it. So if there's any surprises, anything broken or anything, we're all going to see it. And ooh, now this has changed. Okay, this is, ooh, I'm impressed. Not only am I impressed, but look at this. They even give you extra seals for the pump. Look at that. How many manufacturers do that? Have you ever owned a pump, Eheim or anybody, and the gasket starts leaking and you don't have a spare gasket? You're SOL, right? Look at this. Look at this for the price. They give you gaskets right away. You can replace your bad gaskets and then order some new gaskets. This is great. I mean, for the price and what they're charging for other ones, yeah, the other ones, I get you. They have all the bells and whistles. You know, I don't want bells and whistles. At my age, I want trouble-free. You know what I mean? I want trouble-free, and I don't want a hassle, and I want it to work. That's it. I'll worry about stuff and what I want in the canister. I do not want it sucking in air like the one out in the Lanai that I use, F-Zone. Not a bit of problem. That thing's been running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for over a year now, because it's been up over a year. Beautiful. This one that runs on the antique aquarium next to me, that motor and everything, it's quiet. You don't even know the motor's on. You don't even know it's on. So I have no complaints about that. They've redesigned this motor to correct a problem that they had. Excellent. And the controller. Wow, they even redesigned the controller. This is like, I'm really wowed that, first of all, they give you this. Instead of, they used to give you sticky Velcro and it keeps popping off. But this, now, you put this, you screw it on. You can put it on with the Velcro if you want, and it slides right in. And it's a nice looking controller. I know nothing about it. I can't tell you what it is, but it looks like it has a minus and a plus, and it looks like you have your on off, and it has an M. I'm going to say that must be the different modes or whatever, or maybe even for your, because it says right here, constant, pulse, gyre, and feed. So it must have different modes. And being that this is stainless steel, I wouldn't recommend it for saltwater. These have to be all for freshwater use. But very, very nice. This is a big improvement over my older F-Zone filters. Big improvement. So if someone's looking for something that is a better quality, definitely whatever F-Zone did, they gave you better quality. I guess they're trying to just be more competitive, or they're trying to really outdo ADA and giving you a few things that ADA doesn't give you. Okay, so you have your power supply. From what I can see, let's see what this is, what this motor is. I can tell you right now. So you can tell. This is a 24 volt, 2.75 amp motor. So it takes between 100 to 240 volts, 50 to 60 cycles. Okay. So that's what this is. It's a 24 volt motor. A lot of your DC motors, when they get bigger and more powerful, if you get a DC motor and it says 12 volt, that's usually not going to pump as much. I think they'll be governed to about 1,500 liters per hour. This one I think is 3,000 liters an hour. So at a 12 volt, you're going to get about half as much going out of that motor as you would this motor, which is 3,000 liters an hour. I think that's pretty good. And of course, they give you a cord. The cord is not affixed to it. It's one of those kind that you plug in separately. So I'm going to have to say that F-Zone has taken a few more steps to improve their motor, which I can see has been re-engineered, redesigned. That motor that's on here, I looked it up on Amazon, for example. I think if I remember, it was $179 for this motor. So you figure if you deduct $179 from this canister filter, $180 off of the price of the canister filter, that's just for this motor. The motor that's on, let's give you an example, the motor that's on the canister to the ADA, the 2400, that motor alone is $600, that Milwaukee motor. And I think it puts out between, like 450, 475 on that. But it does have a lot of head. It goes like 14, almost 15 feet ahead. So it's got a lot of torque. But the trouble with the Milwaukee motors, both of them, the small one and the large one that I have, they get hot. Where these, nothing. They don't get hot. They don't even get warm. So that's upside. But anyway, so what I'm looking at here is they've improved these. And another thing I like about these, if this motor goes, where if you get a canister filter and the motor goes, if this motor goes, you can unscrew it and get a different motor and put it on here. But if the motor goes to a canister filter where you got the whole head and that motor goes, you got to buy the whole new head assembly. And then more than likely you're going to have to buy a new gasket. And that's a lot of things that went wrong with my Eheims is the gaskets around, they have the square gaskets. They would always wind up leaking on me after a while. Sometimes not very bad, sometimes bad enough where you can't run the filter anymore. And that's the thing I've been watching on YouTube also, is what's happening to people. So, sticking with this old school filter style, this is how they used to make them. Definitely, if you're the hobbyist out there, you're watching this, this is the newer F-Zone. I would definitely, for the price, the only thing it doesn't come with is intake and exit tubes. It's a very good filter for the price. They've corrected a few problems I see with the motor. So that's it for this review. If you made it all the way to the end, I want to thank you very much for watching. And until next time, this is Dr. Novak. Happy fish keeping. And please subscribe to my channel so I can give you more content like this. And I will get this set up and I will let you know exactly how noisy it is, how powerful it is. Is it better than the old pumps? And I'll put it through the test of even trying to airlock it to see how this pump has been redesigned. If it gets airlocked or if it just blows that air right out. I could see that some engineer has found their flaw and fixed it. So until next time, happy fish keeping, and thank you for watching.